The Inspector General of Police, if you hear him, what he says is that it's about, you know, not only a lack of manpower, but a lack of resources to fund the manpower, to train and to equip the manpower, that the will is there. What are your thoughts on that?
Honestly, I think the IGP is a fantastic man. He's done so well. Okay, obviously, because when you look at the issue of security in Nigeria, it's always easy to criticize what he's doing. But obviously, he's done some work well in some places falling up totally poor. Honestly, in my own perspective, right now in Nigeria, the national security architecture of Nigeria needs to be changed. And how do you start that? We have to say thank you for all the commandants of the whole agencies. You've done well. It's time to pack your load and go. We need some fresh brains. We need some fresh ideas. Why do I say this? In 2018 alone, we've had terrible massacre of human lives from Adamawa, Taraba, Borno, Benue, and the Southwest. And nobody is stepping apart. Nobody is taking responsibility. Nobody is resigning. Nobody is in socks. Their job there is primarily to secure lives and properties. But that's not their primary job. Maybe that's their secondary or tertiary job. Their primary assignment seems, according to some school of thought, that it's to show loyalty to those that appointed them. So I respect the IGP of police. However, they have done well. It's time to pack and go. We need some fresh ideas across every security agency in Nigeria. They've been there for 3 years. And if you look at their balanced scorecard, we've lost huge lives and properties. Our farmers cannot farm. Our herdsmen are not happy. Everybody is not happy. Lives are lost in communities. Let's say the truth. They have to say, thank you, guys, go bring in new men to give us a chance to move on, especially when we're going to 2019. We cannot have them on board anymore. They have to go.
So what we're looking at, when you talk about this last abduction of the Dapchi girls, is some analysts have looked at this and they've said, look, if you look at what happened last Christmas when President Buhari essentially had implemented a deal with Boko Haram insurgents that he would give them 3 million euros and 5 top Boko Haram commanders in exchange for about 100-something girls. That this was a deal that was celebrated by the Nigerian public. It was something of a victory, if you will, for the administration. But then, on the other hand, there was an apparent uptick in the response of Boko Haram insurgents once they were replenished with their commanders and with these this new inflow of funds. Now, I want to ask you: should there be a concern that if there's always going to be a trade-off, if there's always going to be an incentive for Boko Haram to continue to steal our citizens, to abduct our citizens, that these insurgents are just going to continue to kidnap, and then trade for money to perpetuate themselves? What are your thoughts on that concern?
I believe personally that the insurgents in Nigeria are actually on the front foot, whereas our security agencies are on the back foot. It seems that the insurgents have probably used those kind of optimism, used those kind of funds that they got last year to show them, you know what, we are still relevant. We can negotiate for more, because you give them a reason to feel we can get more. We just have to get our acts together, you know, hold down, be smart, and we can get some more. And look at the cheap scores they've made in Borno last week about the suicide bombing and what happened in Dapchi on Monday. What do you think in the next 1 month or so, if you get a video of potential hostages from Dapchi Girls Secondary School, and you get that video coming out, potentially a broadcast, it's going to give them the relevance they've been looking for. So the bottom line is, nations do negotiation, okay? Obviously, they do it secretly. That is nothing. We have to look at the lives that we have to save, first of all. But in doing that, you need to get your acts together. Right now, we are too reactive. We are not proactive. And there is no willpower to show that we are being proactive, because lives are lost almost every other day. Somebody can be knifed in Nigeria because of 50 naira argument, and the culprit will not be arrested because they don't even know who he is.
So if you're the president today and you're facing extreme pressure, a lot of pressure from civil society, from groups like the Bring Back Our Girls group, you know, campaigning publicly that look, the return of the Chibok girls matters, that Nigerian lives should matter, and you're looking at it and you have a chance to bring them back, but you know that in doing so you're going to have a consequence of essentially replenishing a foe. What is the alternative to that in your view, if you're the president? What can you do to extricate these girls from the hands of Boko Haram while not giving them what they would need to continue fighting your country?
If I were the president, one of the things that I would do is to encourage a constructive relationship between myself and all these NGOs to bring back our girls and the rest of them. Create a comfortable relationship between myself and them. Hear them out, understand their pains, and see how I can work with them. Number two, if I were the president of Nigeria, I need to create the kind of environment that would discourage all these insurgents from actually going into this criminality of what they are doing. If I were the president, I would secure our national borders. That is the primary assignment of the Nigerian military. Not trying to do the job of the police that they are doing right now. Secure our national borders with the immigration. If I were the president, within 6 months, we can have an integrated national biometric database ID card. Just like we have BVNs in the banks. The Nigerian banks has proven to us that without a national ID in Nigeria, we the bankers can secure your money. You cannot touch my money, I cannot touch your money.
You know, but Mr. Onyekwelu, those innovations, those ideas are good on paper, but some people will say, look at the political realities of the country today. We are currently in a situation where you have these very important checks and balances that are potentially being abused. For example, if you say the customs, we have to get the strategy right in customs so that we don't have all this inflow of weapons coming into the country through the customs process. But then you have a National Assembly, for example, that's ready to ask the customs boss to resign because he's not wearing a uniform. So there are all sorts of trivialities. Then you have situations where you're trying to pass a budget, and the budget may be used, for example, for equipping the police or enhancing recruitment or training, and then the National Assembly essentially says that, look, we're not going to touch this until this happens. So if you look at the political realities and you're the executive and you know you need to do something, but you're essentially in some ways handcuffed by processes and by institutions that are quite politicized, what do you do? Do you make a case to the public? I mean, what's the solution?
The body language. The bottom line is the body language is not positive. The National Assembly is not the CNC of Nigeria. We have a CNC who can appoint the commander of all these agencies. He handpicked them. So the buck stops on his table. He chose his preferred experts. And to be respectful, he chose people that he believes in his heart of hearts they can deliver. And they are not delivering. So don't bring the National Assembly into this. That is number one. Number two, we review security commands, chains of commands. Don't put people there because they look like you or they sound like you or they talk like you. Put people there that can deliver. Give them a kind of a monitoring system to see if they are delivering. Don't hide yourself like the ostrich that hides as if nothing is happening. People are dying. You can't just pretend that it's not happening. And do you know the massive amount of budget the security agencies in Nigeria get? It's huge. And we look at the rate of criminality. It's not about the National Assembly. The buck stops on the table of Mr. President.